on. There we go. Are we? We are. We are. We are live. We're live. Are you alive?
I'm alive.
I'm alive.
Live.
We're officially the Black Shirt Brigade, and we did not plan this. This is Dennis, my buddy Dennis, my brother Dennis.
Hi.
And we're here on I Got My Miracle. Each week at Rythmia, we choose one person to kind of represent the field of healing that took place, and I'm so grateful to have you here, brother.
I can't tell you how much fun this is. I'm honored, man. I'm honored. Yeah.
We've had some good times together.
Absolutely. Yeah. More to come.
More to come, indeed. So this week at Rythmia, we had a good group, like 72 people, which was awesome, and so much healing. How did you like the people that were in the retreat with you?
It was like this is the first time I've been here that I felt like I was part of something. Like I come here and I'm like, I feel like I'm a participant, or I feel like I'm doing whatever, right? But this time it was like we were all one, and we were all doing something together. And it was like everybody, it was like a machine that just kind of just all worked together, and all the parts were moving, and the vibe was hot. It was
wow.
Great.
I love
it was
that.
Really good. Yeah.
Like that real sense of oneness.
Yes.
Which is kind of what we need in the world right now.
Oh my gosh. Right. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
How many times have you been here?
This is my 7th time.
Okay. This is why I wanted to ask you. I love you. Like we've known each other for a while, and sometimes people come, or sometimes people are out there listening and going, well, I've done some work and I'm not so sure. I don't have any trauma, and a lot of what we do is about looking at core woundings, right? These core woundings, and trauma isn't what happened. It's the story that we tell ourselves about what happened. So it could be not getting picked for kickball, right? It could be something that you told yourself a story. I told myself a story. And that story's become a law of my life, or a premise, like that I don't belong. And then we act a certain way to try and get our needs met, to try and feel like we belong, even though all the time we feel like we don't belong. It's this basic idea of the split at Rythmia. But a lot of times people come here, or people might be listening to this going, I wasn't like abandoned or abused, and I don't really have anything, And I know you, and your life is great.
Yes.
You have a great life.
I do.
So tell us a little bit about your great life.
Oh, well, let's see. I get to live in a dream place. So I live in Puerto Rico, and then I live part of the year in Spain. So I go back and forth. My kids are in Spain, so I do get to travel a lot. I have an amazing business. I work in education and write a curriculum writer for homeschool students. And I just have just this ridiculous, amazing life.
Amazing life. And you're an amazing person.
Oh, well, thank you.
Really.
So are you. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
But that was why I wanted to really bring you on, was because we don't just come to plant medicine when we're being pushed by pain.
Right.
You're coming for what reason? What brought you here?
Oh, so every time it's to rediscover and go deeper. Like there's like the what's next, and just being able to come here, and even being here this time, I was even a little stuck is probably a good word. Kind of stuck in like the direction of what I'm doing inside of my career, right? And I came here not knowing, and not sometimes like we come here with an expectation, right? Okay, so I want to have this outcome. I just came here without expectation, but knowing that I wanted to be unstuck. So that was this, and I opened up so many things about what I got leaving here. Was that in my world, in my business world, but my personal world too, was like what I left here with was that it's time for me to be with my tribe. Like there's a lot of people that I work with or interact with, but they're not, it's not like they're not my tribe, but they're not my tribe, right? They're in their tribe. But for me, it was like, I left here and I'm leaving here, like in this space of who's my tribe, and some of that is I'm starting to look at who's not my tribe, right? So I can start to sort some of that out, but seeing the people that are my tribe, it's like my heart exploded. It was just so rich and yummy. And
okay, there's so much I want to ask you about that, because okay, so what is tribe to you? Because I want to ask you that with the follow-up question around, you had said I felt this unity and oneness.
Yeah.
which is really, and we both agreed, oh, we need that in the world.
Yes.
So there's this notion of, I've got my tribe, like these are the people that I resonate with.
Yeah.
And yet we also want to reach out and be in awe and wonder of those that we don't necessarily resonate with.
Right.
That might not be our tribe, but we're not separate from them.
Yeah.
So I want to start with the first question.
Uh-huh.
So I'm kind of telling you where we're going.
Yeah, I got it. I love it. Okay.
What do you define as your tribe? What's your tribe?
Well, until you asked me that, I don't know if I would have had an answer. So I'm making it up right now. So here we go, right? But I'm looking at it as, to me, my tribe is how, when I'm with my people, like when I'm with that space, is that that I get to be the best version of myself. And so for people that I would say are not my tribe, they get to see that. So they may say, wow, who are you? And how do you get that? And how do you get there? But the people around me are what make the empowerment to make that happen.
Okay.
So it's like, it's not, so it's like, it almost sounds like it could be separate, but it's really not. It's more about the unity of what that tribe looks like to me, so that I can bring that out into the world and share it.
So what I'm hearing is your tribe, who is your tribe, are people that support you in being the fullest expression of your most authentic self.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And they're up to that too, right? Yeah.
And I love what else you said is that it's not separate. Like I'm not like, what, because when we think of tribal, like self and other, right? Like, well, there's us and then there's them.
Yeah.
And,
right.
and there's a lot of that going on.
There's
right?
way too much of that. Yeah.
What you're saying is my tribe is my support system that supports me and helps me to be my most authentic self, so that I can go out and be that in the world.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. It's great.
I forgot to put this on so we could see if anybody's chatting.
Oh.
And saying hello. Hey,
chatters.
Sheila, Giovanni, what's up, Giovanni? Hey, I just saw you, brother. Giovanni's here next week.
Oh, right on.
He's our guest speaker next week. Right on, brother. See you soon. I didn't have the chat up, so I didn't know you were there. Hey, and Sheila, hey. Okay, so you came. Life is great.
Yeah.
You have, I know personally, you have a great relationship with your ex-wife.
Yes.
And you have a great relationship with your current partner.
That's right.
You have a great relationship with your kids.
Yep.
You live in, Puerto Rico and Spain.
Yeah.
You have developed this amazing business where you're a math educator.
Yep.
Right? Like the thing that nobody likes to teach.
That's right.
And you do it so well.
You
make it fun for people.
Yeah.
You're Mr. Math.
That's right.
In fact, that wasn't just a public service announcement.
No plug. That's right.
But if you want to look at Mr. Math, I'm just saying. If you have kids, they need Mr. Math. Anyway, so just help it out.
Of course,
help it out, brother.
Right.
So, but you still felt stuck in some aspect of your life.
Yeah.
And what did you say? It was the direction or what you're doing within the confines of your company.
Yeah.
And so what shifted for you while you were here?
So one of the insights, downloads, something that I'm leaving here with is this space of be able to speak my truth, and sometimes I feel like it's not okay. It's not safe. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm leaving here that it doesn't matter if it's safe or not. It's just like, no, speak your truth, man. It's like, it is time to stand up, be strong, and speak my truth. And there's some things I invested in a business, right? Another business. And I just got clear while I was here. That is not my vibe, and it's like, so we're gonna cease that relationship, and I want to focus on the other things that I am doing. But it was like, part of that was like, for me to fulfill my highest expression is I need to really be to where I'm being called to be. And that was a place that I wasn't being called to be. And that was the place of feeling stuck, because it was like, I felt like I didn't belong. And I was kind of going through the motions, right? Of being there and supporting and doing the things to do. But now I'm like, there's still things that I can do. There's still things I can support, but it's like, I can see the place where I'm needed and the place where I'm being called. So it's probably not even being needed. It's more like, this is where I'm called to be. And so that's just like, I'm leaving here with that.
That resonates with me, and you're just such a natural, I love you so much. You're just such a natural, like, expression of joy and affirmative thinking, not positive thinking,
Yeah.
but affirmative thinking.
Right.
And not in a way that bypasses, right? So just acknowledge that about you. What you just said was, there was this thing that I invested in, this company. I didn't really feel like I belonged. And you didn't like poo-poo that. You were like, and that's all good. I'm just being called over here.
Yeah.
Which is I love that, right? It's not like I'm not demonizing something
Not
to
at all.
justify my leaving.
Yeah.
I'm just honestly saying I'm called over here.
Yeah.
And that was about tribe.
Yeah.
Getting unstuck was about tribe.
Right.
And then the other thing that you said that I really liked was, oh man, I just had it and I just lost it. Speaking your truth.
Yeah.
And there's like, I can speak my truth without fear. And for me, let me know if this resonates with you. It's like, and it's my truth, not the truth.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's an acknowledgement that I've got my own blind spots.
Yep.
Even though I might see this very clearly, I've got some blind spots. And so I can speak my truth and know that it's not the truth. And that leaves space for other people to speak their truth, knowing whether they know it or not. I know it's not the truth.
Right.
And it leaves space for civil discourse.
Yeah.
Which is what I think I really want to bring forth.
Yeah.
In this time,
right? I love it.
Civil discourse.
Yeah.
And other thing that's coming up for me in this conversation is that acknowledgement of someone else's perspective or opinion does not mean agreement.
Right. Yeah. Definitely that.
So I can speak my truth. You can have your truth. And me acknowledging your truth does not mean I agree with it.
Right.
And I don't have to persuade you to my truth.
Yeah. And I don't have no agenda, right? It's just like, we're just in the space, and it's great because, I think we each have a truth, right? Whatever that is, then collectively we open up to a bigger truth, so that sometimes that disagreement is what opens up something that we can see, something that we couldn't see before.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just like, I'm digging that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. Like conflict is good.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
Right.
We get to when we conflict well.
Right. Right.
When we and what does that mean to you? What does conflict well mean to you?
Well, as you're saying that, right? When I'm looking at like conflict well, is that we have a common goal, like a common path to fulfill, and we're doing it by kind of like what is it in science when the protons and neutrons.
The large array. Whatever.
There's got to be some of that
particle accelerator.
Yeah, or like a moth that becomes a butterfly. Right, the conflict of a moth, of what a moth goes through in the cocoon to become the butterfly, and the wings to rub back and forth until it can break free and be able to fly. That's the conflict.
Yeah,
it's like it takes that conflict, that the energy, right? The energy of doing the work. Right. That's probably a good way to say it. Like, what it is to do the work.
Yeah.
And that just opens up something amazing that we've never seen before.
And like the other thing I love about what you said is, for me, I always see nature as our teacher, and any spiritual principle that we have has to be proved in nature.
Yeah.
And so you're like, well, we said, conflict works. And you're like, yeah, well, and look at the conflict that a caterpillar has to go through to become a butterfly.
Yeah.
Like, some of the most beautiful things in nature emerge out of conflict. Even a seed,
right,
birthing into
the struggle, right?
Yeah. Breaking free of its shell.
Right.
Is that a metaphor of what we do at Rythmia?
It's all darkness, and all of a sudden it's like, bam, there's the light. Right? Yeah.
Nature's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was some other miracles that you had this week.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so it's so great. So one thing.
So wait, miracle number one was you got unstuck. And you got clear about what your tribe was, and I'm cool with leaving this thing that I invested in, and I'm going to put my energy where I'm really called to be.
Right.
And that was a miracle.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I woke up with one today.
Okay.
Unexpected.
Get this, people.
It's crazy. So, one thing, so this is my 7th time at Rythmia. Seven. Math guy, right? So every time I've ever been here, I've never looked at the schedule as to who's going to be here doing ceremonies, right? And so 6 times I've always been here with Mitra on Yahé night, right? So this time I didn't know who was. I just figured I'd see Mitra again because I always see Mitra, and Taito Anita's here.
Yeah.
So this is my first time to sit with Taito Anita and do the ceremony. And it was
Okay,
it was
so
beautiful, right?
Taito Juanito is our lead shaman, and he is from Colombia and kind of does all the training. And Mitra is like also lead, like director as well. Mitra's amazing. But Taito Juanito kind of is Mitra's not a Taita.
Right.
Taita's like chief.
Yeah.
So we had the chief here this week.
It was great.
And that's what Dennis is referring to. If you didn't know.
So how cool Mitra is. So I don't know if you know. Mitra gave me a nickname, right?
No.
Do you know what my nickname is?
What is it?
He calls me Woodstock.
That's so perfect.
And it's such a gift, man. I'm honored by that, right? So yesterday, you saw me yesterday. I gave it to the last session on Friday morning, and I was
you were a walking zombie.
Spent, man. I was spent. Yeah, I was totally spent, and I was exhausted. I hadn't been to sleep, and I just stayed up all day, right? So before I came about 6 months ago, I had a hip replacement. I got arthritis in both my hips, replaced one, and they're already like, yeah, you're gonna have to do the other one someday. I was like, okay. But I've been dealing with pain, that kind of pain in the hips, like trying to get up and, especially get off the mattress and, while you're in ceremony,
right.
You got people coming and picking me up and dragging me up, it's that kind of thing. So I leave the session yesterday, stayed awake all day, went to breath work, and I fell sound asleep, right? Slept for the whole 2 hours, got up, ate dinner, and then went straight to bed. And I got up this morning, and when I got up, it was like I felt rested, right? And so I get out of bed, and I'm going to yoga. And I went to yoga. I didn't have any pain in either hip.
Did you hear that?
Zero pain. And now that is a miracle, because I've been living with that pain for years.
Yeah.
Right? And even once you get surgery like that, you can kind of feel that it's not your natural body part, right? And I always felt the pressure on it. I walk into yoga this morning, and the day before, the last time that I went to yoga, I went in, and Mariana was the girl that was leading the session, and she saw me. She goes, "You need to rest." I said, "Oh yeah." So I was sound asleep during yoga, right? So today I go in, I did all the poses, I did everything, I did it with no pain.
Wow.
And it was like, and she's looking at me like, "What happened to you, man?" And I was just like, I had a miracle, right?
Wow.
But that to leave here and be completely pain free, there's not even I don't have any. There's no words. There's
Amazing.
just no words to describe it, but truly a miracle. Like,
we have
so good.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. We have so many healings here.
Yeah.
And it's kind of based on this idea that, there are elements, like physiological elements in ayahuasca, that are anti-inflammatory. And so we could go through a scientific reason. And so many of the healings that happen here happen outside of what we would say is normal science. And part of that is this idea that consciousness precedes form, and that we're consciousness isn't in our head, but that our body is in consciousness. We're living and moving and having our beingness in consciousness, and it's a field of consciousness, or an electromagnetic field, that's informing the form. Right. It doesn't go. The form doesn't create the field. The field creates the form. We're a condensation of information, right? Taken form. And so when you're on the medicine, this is my belief, when you're on the medicine, you're not leaving your body, but you're accessing the upper octaves of your being, like the upper spectrum. And I always use the example of the visible spectrum and invisible spectrum of light. There's red and infrared. Red's visible, infrared isn't visible, but it's all red.
Yeah.
Right? It's just it's all on this spectrum, all red. Part of it's visible, part of it's invisible. So there's this visible part of us, there's this invisible part of us. The higher aspects of our spectrum, the higher vibrational aspects of our spectrum of being, is the God part of us, the divine intelligence part of us. And that's always informing us. The medicine helps us to clear up a lot of those blockages. And when we heal something in the field of consciousness, it heals in the form. And that's what, why you're like, oh my God, I had this healing. And it is magical. It is magical.
Yeah.
And and that's how I understand it, right?
Yeah.
You're like, you're healing something in the field of consciousness, and it's
Right.
informing your being. And that's called quantum healing,
Yeah.
right? Kind of Newtonian idea or allopathic care is we're going to treat this, we're going to remove that hip, we're going to put something in there, and it's going to fix that thing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that works. Allopathic care is kind of Newtonian ideas, right? Like cause and effect, and it's very slow and lockstep.
Right.
But so you need a ladder to get from one level to the next.
Yeah.
And it works. Quantum idea is you jump from one level to the next. Like you're here and then you're there.
Yeah.
And this is quantum healing.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It's funny as you say that. It's like when you say climbing the ladder, right? That sounds painful to me. You know what I mean? Right? And now when you're saying like jump, it's like that is like refreshing. That's like that's me, right? Like I feel like I can jump again. Where before it was like, oh, here we go.
So great, man.
Yeah.
So great.
It's amazing.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Anything else that you would want to share about your week, whether it was the resort or the classes or the medicine or the people you met or insight that you had, just anything that you'd like to share?
Oh, here's a, we were sharing the other night. It was the third night, the Divine Feminine night, right?
Okay.
And they said, who wants to share? And what I was working on was getting out of my head and feeling from my heart. So this was my whole share. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I love being here. That was it.
That's share. And everybody was like, oh, thank God that was short.
Exactly, right? That's exactly what happened. People were like, oh, fuck yeah, that's right.
Because, sometimes ceremony's over and somebody's like, okay, so in the first part of the ceremony, my first purge, I had this experience. And then later, no, wait, it was then I went outside. No, then I ran into, and then you're like, please, I just want to go to bed.
Right? Yeah. No, that was it. No, I love being here. It's like, there's no better place on the planet for me of where I want to be. When somebody says, where you want to be, pick your time, I'm coming here.
I love it. I love you.
Yeah,
man.
I love you too.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
I love it when you're here.
I'm so glad you're over here, man. It's good. Yeah.
Really great. Okay. So this is, I got my miracle. We had a couple miracles this week.
A couple.
And life is good. And life is good. So if you have any questions about Rythmia, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, there's a number down there. If you're on Instagram, you can go to rythmia.com, and we will see you next week for another episode of I Got My Miracle.
Let's go.